kind of give us your thoughts when y'all might have made a charge there.
Yeah, I thought we kept playing hard. We just never got over the hump, and they were very good. They controlled the ball in the second half when they wanted to, and so never really got over that hump where we could have really made a good run at it. And you got to give them credit. They did a good job defensively of creating turnovers and putting us in a hole.
Okay, other questions for Coach? Let's go in the back. I have a question. The TV camera right by the door here on the right.
Coach, just your evaluation of your team and how they performed mentally on the field today.
We weren't as good as we've been, and a lot of that's due to that team. I thought they did a great job putting pressure on us by scoring as fast as they did, and the way they came out fast, and that's a lot of credit to their coaching staff. The penalties obviously crushed us, and the turnovers in the first half. You got to keep up. Had a couple big drops that we needed to keep pace, and we didn't do a good job of that. And then, to their credit, Baylor never let up the entire game.
We'll stay on Coach's right toward the back.
Kliff, quite a roller coaster the past 3 weeks. Have you had a chance to assess how your team has grown over the past 3 weeks, even in defeat?
The one thing I saw tonight was they kept fighting. That's a very good Baylor team, and they just kept going toe-to-toe with them at the end, and so I was proud of that. But we reverted back to some bad habits as far as penalties and turnovers this game, and against the top 5 team in the country, you can't have that happen. So I didn't think we really gave ourselves an opportunity to win the game like we have the previous first 4.
Okay, wait, time out. Let's bring the mic to you if we could. If you want a transcript, we're going to have to do it that way. Okay.
Hey, Coach. Jared Johnson, RaiderPower.com. Do you think with this 3-game stretch that maybe the mental strain is why the team reverted back on the penalties and turnovers that we haven't really seen so far this season?
I don't think so. Like I said, I think they just did a great job of getting out and putting pressure on us, and we didn't handle it well. That's a game when they're scoring like that. You got to go back and forth. You got to try and create some turnovers, which we did not, and they did. And so I don't think it had anything to do with mental strain. We just got beat by a very good team and didn't respond the way we needed to.
Let's go in the back.
Kliff, your evaluation of Patrick Mahomes' start today, and then an update on Devin Lauderdale and his injury.
I thought Pat played fairly well. We got behind and got out of our game plan, and so it was tough. He hung in there on some stuff, not being 100%, but you lose Devin early, and a couple other key receivers are out, and I thought he did a good job hanging with some of those young guys, and those young guys, a couple of them stepped up, made a few plays, but just got out of hand for us, and but I thought he kept battling. And then I'm not sure on Devin's status. I just was told he would be out for the rest of the game.
Again on the left aisle.
Kliff, what do you think about Zach Austin and his performance today, especially stepping in and just kind of how he played today?
Yeah, it was great to see. He works very hard. We rewarded him with a scholarship during camp, and well-deserved. And he's a gamer. He's a guy who he plays his best when the lights are on, and couldn't be more proud of him coming out and making those plays like he did.
Okay, here on the extreme right.
You only had 1 turnover today. Other than that, how did you assess the defense?
They are growing up. I think last year, I don't know if they would have had that same fight, and they fought hard. It wasn't pretty, and you got to give Baylor, like I said, a ton of credit. That's the best group of wide receivers I've ever coached against by far. The quarterback, he was on the money. He can move around, make all the throws. The running back's a great player. I mean, they're loaded, and so got to give them a lot of credit. But I was just proud that our defense continued to fight, and those balls will start bouncing our way at some point.
Okay, here on the right, on the aisle.
Kliff, on Patrick, obviously he still made a bunch of plays today, but it seemed like he's throwing so much off of his back foot. Did it look to you like he's still being bothered by the knee and not really stepping into throws and just having to do it with his arm and gut it out?
Yeah, more than you'd like. He really snapping that ball off and putting pressure on that leg. You can tell he's not that comfortable with it yet, but it was dramatically better than it was last weekend and the beginning of the week, and so hopefully we can take another step this week, and he feels that much better next Saturday.
Any other questions for Coach? Okay, extreme left. left side for Coach.
Coach, did you expect to maybe be able to get a little bit more going running the ball against Baylor today?
I think the game kind of took us out of that. Early on, they did a great job stuffing the run, and then when you get behind by that many points, you're kind of trying to save time and start throwing it. But they did a good job against the run early. That's something we have to look at.
Okay, let's move to this side.
Kliff, what did Peyton Hendricks miss today with? And then as a follow-up to that, without him and Dixon and Barnes, how much is that lack of depth hurting your secondary, particularly in a game such as this?
Peyton was sick, and yeah, not having that depth hurt us just because you like to run some fresh bodies in there with that type of tempo and those type of weapons they have at wide receiver. But hopefully we can get those guys back sooner than later.
Okay, up front.
Shock Linwood's game today. How come he gave you so much trouble?
He's a very good player. Their line did a good job creating holes, and he finishes runs. So you got to give him all the credit. He made a bunch of those plays. We had guys there to make tackles. He either ran through us or ran around us. And once again, their O-line is playing at a high level.
Other questions now for Coach? Okay. Again, over here, Don.
After y'all made that big play on the first kickoff with the lateral, looked like Art then didn't want to give you a chance to, didn't want to give Jakeem or anybody else a chance to hurt him. How much did that maybe just affect game plan-wise, what you're doing special teams?
It didn't. They did a lot of that last year and didn't want to get Jakeem the ball, which is smart. And they did a good job of where they were placing the kicks, but that didn't affect us. We knew that was probably coming.
Okay, we'll have time for a couple more questions. We'll go here, right side.
All right, Coach. Jakeem Grant had a big drop in the second quarter. How much did those drops hurt you? I know Brown had another one in the end zone.
Yeah, it's just in those type games when you're trying to keep up. That one was having to be on a third down, and you got to make those plays. They seem to make all of them, and that's a credit to their receiving core and their coaches. And so, yeah, anytime you have those and you're in a game where it's going back and forth like that, it's going to hurt.
Okay, one last question. Anyone have it? All right, Don.
Going forward, I mean, assuming if you don't have Ian for a while, and depending on what's wrong with Devin, how comfortable are you with such a young group of receivers?
That's tough. You can Cantrell, Sadler, and Lauderdale out. That's 3 of your top 4. But I think this was a good game to get Tony some touches. Kiki got to play a lot. Giles got to play a lot. Zach Austin. So I think it was good to get them broken in, and they're going to have to grow up fast.